Well, welcome to Conversation. This is a special edition of Conversation coming to you from KAFTAN TV. What do we do on Conversation? We converse. Yes, we converse with key personalities in society that shape our world, shape our polity, and like today, shape our defense. Yes, our defense. Today in the studio, we shall be talking with the Director of Defense Information. He is Brigadier General Tukur Gusau, a fine military officer, a general, and a gentleman. General, welcome to Conversation.
Thank you very much for having me.
And on Conversation today, I am with my colleague. Let him introduce himself.
All right, my name is Dayo Omogun. I think I'll just leave it at that. And I'm glad to be here. Welcome, General.
Thank you very much. Nice to meet you.
Now, the Director of Defense Information is the purveyor, is the one that has all the information about military activities in the country. So today we shall be talking on a number of issues that affects the operations of the military, and some of those utterances that you have heard even from high quarters that you've been thinking of, how do we get clarifications for them. So let's kick off the program Conversation with General Gusau. Now, General, I'm sure the most important thing Nigerians will want to ask you is what is the current situation of the war? Let's call it war. It is war now against insurgents, bandits, kidnappings in Nigeria today.
Okay. Thank you very much for this question, and thank you once again for having me. We are engaged currently in operation in all the 6 geopolitical zones in Nigeria. We have operations ongoing, and a lot of successes has been recorded. I will look at them one after the other. If we look at the Northeast, a couple of years ago, the story was a different one. Today, if you go to a city, let's say Maiduguri, you begin to ask questions. Is it the same Maiduguri that we know years ago? People have returned to their farms. Business activities have picked up. Roads that were unmotorable before, due to, or we cannot be past them due to security reasons, are now open. People are commuting from one community to the other, from one local government to the other, and even from one state to the other. So I think a lot has been achieved in that direction. Let's look at the South-South. Before now, our oil production has gone down. I think less than 1.2 million barrels per day. The president charged the CDS to ensure that the oil production is brought up, so that the nation will be able to have, its economy, revamped. I'm happy to inform you now we have reached that $2 million. 2 million barrels per day. And we are doing a lot to ensure that it has gone up, to certain level. So a lot has been achieved. What last did you hear, oil bunkering in the Niger Delta? It's becoming a story of the past. This is due to the activities of our own troops and through the direction of the Chief of Defense Staff. Now look at the Northwest, where we have Operation Pansanyama. Sometimes last year, CDS felt, look, there is need to address the issue of banditry, insecurity, which has turned to terrorism now in the northwest, and he come up with operations similar to that of northeast by establishing a theater, and he sent in a very experienced general as theater commander, and a lot has been achieved. Even the road from Funtua Gusau that is almost unpassable before, people now commute that road on hourly basis, both morning, evening, night, and what have you, without any security concerns. So a lot has been achieved. And again, people have gone back to their farmlands, and we have provided adequate security to ensure that the farmers are well protected. We have put modalities on ground so that once the farmers heard about any threat to themselves, they should be able to report to us so that we can take care of those concerns. So a lot has been achieved. If you go to the north central, especially the plateau, where in the last 2 months or thereabout, there are issues of killings, and what have you. Just last week, the CDS went to the plateau himself, rejig the operation, changed the name from Operation Safe Haven, which has been there since 2010, which is 15 years now. So he felt there is need, to reinvigorate that operation, by bringing in more men, more boots on the ground, more equipment, changing the name from Operation Safe Haven to Operation Enduring Peace, and also charging the troops, giving them new mandates. The clear mandate now is that you can no longer stay in plateau, in Jos, to wait until something happens. Move into the bushes, clear those idiots, clear them, and make sure the people in that area are staying in a peaceful atmosphere. So that is the new charge. And roadblocks, he said, our troops should not be involved in anything roadblock across Plateau State and Southern Kaduna, which is the area of responsibility of the operation. Instead, they should allow police and other security agencies to man the checkpoint. But our men should move into the bushes to clear the criminals.
Now, are there any part of this country, whether in the south or in the west or anywhere, that is still under insurgents? Because you used to hear in those days that insurgents are the ones ruling in these places, and then they are collecting taxes from Nigerians.
That is a story of the past. As far as we are concerned, nobody has taken over any land in Nigeria. Of course, sometimes we hear bandits, attacking a city, maybe collecting ransom here and there, but for them to carve a place and say this is our own territory, it can never happen. Maybe it has happened in the past, but I'm telling you, under the leadership of General Christopher Musa, those kind of concern has been addressed.
Okay. Dayo.
All right. Based on the assignments, the various operations, and looking at the way it looks as if the military and the general security forces have been spread thin all over the different war theaters, don't you think that we have a shortage of boots, both a shortage of boots and an inadequacy of technology to drive this?
Well, thank you very much. Yes, I agree with you. The boots on ground are not enough. Nigeria is a very big country. It's a very vast country, and even the police, they are not commensurate with the population.
Right.
Not to talk of the armed forces. Naturally, police are supposed to be more in number than even the armed forces. So even the police are not enough. The military are also not enough. But a lot is being done to recruit more boots, more troops, more soldiers. That's why there is a directive, or there is a new thinking that let's have 2 depots, depot is where we train our soldiers in Zaria. So let's have a similar one somewhere in the southern parts of the country, so that simultaneously we can turn in more numbers. So that is already been considered. And then even before then, the number of intake in Depot Zaria, Nigerian Army Depot Zaria, has been increased. It's the same thing with the Navy and the same thing with the Air Force. A lot has been.
What the current intake is? Do we
now,
have an idea?
We now take up to 6,000. Before,
at once?
Yes, before it's around 3,000, but now the number is up to 6,000, so it has been doubled. But remember, there is need for infrastructure, you know, logistics and what have you, to train 6,000 or more than that in a particular place. So that is why the defense headquarters is thinking of having additional, you know, depots in another part of the country, so that simultaneously we can turn in more number of people, because you don't keep a lot of people in one place. The training could be compromised, you know. Maybe they may not be able to train them very well, but you must have a specific number so that they can have a robust training.
Okay, you mentioned technology.
Yeah.
And again, in the area of technology, I agree with you, boots cannot cover everywhere. But with technology, now technology is the latest thing. Most countries in the world, they use technology to fight wars. A lot is being done. We have drones,
yes,
that we now use, you know, for our operations. We have counter drones, because, you know, some of the criminals now started using drones as well.
Yeah.
So we have to always make sure our technology is quite ahead of theirs. So we are on top of our game. Whatever device they come up with, we ensure we have something to counter that. One of the areas the chiefs of defense staff that met recently in Abuja was on Africa is on the use to imbibe technology to fight some of these crimes. For example, our borders, Nigeria and Niger, we share over 1,500 kilometer stretch. So you cannot use boots
to cover
that. You know, so the only way out is to use technology, and that is why the CDS has been consistently calling for fencing of our borders. We cannot afford to have borders that are porous. You know, criminals are using that as opportunity to come and perpetuate their violence in our country. So there is need to at least start something, and I'm happy the National Assembly is buying into that. Yes, so I'm happy. I'm sure very soon the government will make some pronouncement on that.
What we hear sometimes is that the Nigerian military, especially our men and officers on the war front, are war weary. Every now and then we hear stories of poor remuneration, poor welfare. What is the current morale of troops that are fighting insurgents?
Well, our troops are highly professional. Remember, we have records. Even before independence, our troops were in Congo and some other parts of the world. Even before Nigeria became an independent nation, you know, our troops were even in First and Second World War, our soldiers, you know, and they have done creditably well. So in Nigeria now, we are fighting internal, you know, crimes, terrorism, and what have you. Of course, they are new to us, you know. Our troops continue to show a lot of professionalism. Yes, the welfare could be an issue to some extent, but the CDS, since its assumption of office 2 years plus now, he makes sure their allowances, salary, remunerations were increased. Special allowances were also introduced so that troops' morale will be higher. But of course, if you consider the salary of a a private soldier, which is around 100,000 naira or so, we can say is grossly inadequate. But of course, we have to consider that we are not the only ones serving this country. There are other security agencies. You have to consider the economy itself.
The economy.
You know? But we hope our political masters will look at some of these things with the hope of, you know, improving the welfare of our troops. But the CDS is doing a lot in the area of troops' welfare and also raising their morale. That is why when he assumed office, one of his leadership philosophy is to prioritize troops' welfare through reward system and also sanction. If you do very well, you will be rewarded, you will be accorded all the necessary accolades, and if you go contrary to your official duties, then you will have special court martials that are there waiting for you. So that is how we operate, based on the CDS leadership philosophy.
Okay.
All right, General. There has been this issue for quite some time. I don't know what the current leadership is doing about it, and this cuts across, it's not just your service, it's not just the military. There's been the issue of lack of synergy, a situation where security forces are working like at cross purposes, discordant strategies and all that. What is the position right now? Do we have a better management of the various parts of the architecture?
Okay, thank you very much for this question. I think there's no better time that we had good synergy than now. Maybe in the past it could be true, but since the current leadership of the armed forces took over in June 2023, one of the areas the CDS tried to look at is how do we work as a team. One of the things he don't like is people projecting him as the only person that is doing the job. Driving. Yes, exactly. Anything he is doing, he makes sure he carry everybody along. Not only the service chiefs, also other security agencies. They have their forum where they meet on a regular basis. Anytime he's doing any function or he's going on operational visits, he will ensure that he's there with at least the representatives, if not the heads of other security organizations. If you go to all our theaters now, every security organization is represented.
Wow.
You have the police, you have the civil defense, you have custom, immigration, correctional service.
Wow.
Name all of them, NDLEA.
Wow.
Because we discover drugs are some of the, energizers that prompted, or energized this insecurity.
Sure.
So you need the services of NDLEA. We don't believe we know all, or we can do it all. We have everybody, and we make sure everybody is carried along, and everybody should do his work. If we are going for any operation now, maybe we had a human intelligence of movement of drugs or arms. In that case, we allow the relevant agency to even lead the operation. If it is on drugs, we allow the NDLEA to take the lead. We will not say because we are military, we should be the lead. No, we allow you to lead the operation. If it has to do with maybe arms movement and the rest. We have immigration and custom. We have immigration. If it's a movement of illegal, aliens, yeah. We allow the immigration to take the lead. So we are in harmony with all the security agencies. This is the best time we have a synergy. Nobody is working in silos. We work together because we are all working towards achieving one goal, to secure our country, because we don't have any other country apart from this. In fact, Recently, our theater in Maiduguri, the CDS reject the leadership. We have a new commander now, theater commander. Before then, his deputy is also from the army, because the theater commander comes from the army.
Okay.
His deputy used to be from the army. But the CDS said, no, let's bring Air Force.
Okay.
Because Air Force are also very, very vital in that operation. So the deputy theater commander is now an Air Force officer.
Okay.
And we have police, every component of security organization, other security forces in all our operations across all the theaters.
Okay. Many people believe that because of the professionalism and the capability of the Nigerian military, this war against terrorism shouldn't have taken this long. Since 2010, we're still battling with internal, what if they had come from outside? But people say that it is because the military does not have a free hand to work. There are stories that we had that the military almost caught a very notorious terrorists. They almost catch him, only for them to be called back. We don't know whether such story is true or not. What I want to ask is, do you have a free hand to crush the military? I mean, to crush the insurgents now? In the past, it wasn't like that. Is the presidency, the politician, everybody, are we on the same page now that enough is enough, this nonsense must stop?
Well, thank you very much for your question. On the issue of free hand, I want to tell you in clear terms that we don't receive any intervention from anybody. The President, Commander-in-Chief, His Excellency President Bola Ahmed Tinubu, has given the CDS service chiefs free hand to go about their own professional or constitutional duties. There is no interference from anywhere, not even from the president. The president has never called the chief of staff and tell him, don't do this or do this. No, the president has been very supportive. And I assure you, anything the CDS presented before Mr. President is as good as approved. The president is eager to get this menace cleared, and the CDS is also eager. He has given a lot of deadlines to the theater, to the field commanders, to ensure that this thing is cleared within a certain possible time. And then again, on the issue of fighting this insurgency for 15 years, yes, I agree with you, 15 years is quite a long time. But remember, this kind of insecurity we are facing, our troops were never trained to engage this kind of people. It is something new to us, fighting Nigerians, within the country. It was not part of our training before. It is much recently that the training package is being remodeled to consider this kind of, emerging new terrorism that we are facing in our country. And remember, there are other countries that have fought this thing for over 50 years. For over 50 years. So, yes, 15 years is quite a long time, but again, there are a lot of, problems that maybe hindered progress, when it comes to even arms procurement and the rest. There are issues there. Because Nigeria, we don't produce our arms.
True.
Funding is also a problem. You hear big countries spending trillions of dollars, on their military. And yet they produce their own equipment. They don't buy anything outside. But here we don't produce anything. Until recently, the CDS has now, bring new innovations, especially partnership between our DACON Defense Industries Corporation and some foreign partners to see how we can start producing some of the, equipment and platforms that we need to execute this war. So it's we have our own problems. So
or General,
please, we need just give me 1 minute. The program that you are listening to is Conversation on KAFTAN TV, and we have General Gusau, the Director of Defense Information, on the hot seat, if I can say. We will take a short break. We'll be right back. Okay, you're welcome back. The program Conversation continues with the Director of Defense Intelligence Information, General Gusau. General, we still can welcome you again to the program for the second segment.
Thank you.
Okay, bye.
All right, okay. Now, General, recently there have been pronouncements from top brass of the security architecture that for the people, it gets interpreted in diverse ways. Some interpret it as frustration, helplessness. Some say, okay, that's self-defense. We're getting into a realm of self-defense. And people are also saying, where's the dividing line between self-defense and self-help, which becomes criminal, which becomes which impinges on the law? Because it was first of all the DSS DG Tos Ajayi, right? Who first said that it's about time Nigerians began to defend themselves against these criminals. And then just recently, I think about a week or two ago, the CDS, Chief of Defense Staff, also lent his voice in the same direction. How exactly should this be received by the people? And if it's possible, can you give us a dividing line? When should I take up my life in my hands? When should I, at what point?
Okay, thank you very much for bringing this issue again. I will only comment on what CDS said.
Okay, of course.
I don't know what DSS said before. Yeah. Well, CDS was being engaged by a television station here in Abuja last week. And what he said was, he never mentioned people should protect themselves against terrorism, bandits, and what have you. He's talking of, in case there are natural calamities like floods and other disasters, people should learn how to, not really protect themselves,
not defend themselves.
Not to defend themselves, but a kind of first line of survival.
All right.
He mentioned, for example, should learn judo, should learn karate, swimming, even driving. I'll give you certain examples. One of the problems they are facing in Kano now is a situation you are walking on the street, somebody will just come, hold your hand, collect your phone and run away. And you are standing helpless looking at him. He's not carrying any arms, nothing.
You can't be too sure.
Nothing.
No, you can't be too sure.
What if you don't see the weapon? Why should allow somebody to just collect my phone and run away? Last year there was a flood in Borno State. A lot of lives were lost, unfortunately. Why? Some could not swim. We have seen some on top of trees, on top of roofs, and they survived. There is a lady, her husband traveled, he left her with kids and his car. The flood was in the night. This woman didn't know how to drive.
Oh my God.
That's how she fetched away with her own kids.
And she could have...
She would have dragged her vehicle to a place, to a safe place. Cases so these are some of the things CDS is talking about.
So he was not talking about
about using arms to defend yourself, or to defend yourself against criminals with weapons. Yeah, he talked about non-arms. He said non-arms combat. That is the word he used. Non-armed people should learn non-armed combat as first line of defense to protect yourself. not to go and face bandits or criminals with weapons. No, that is our responsibility.
Okay. There used to be one military president in Nigeria, military president Badamasi Babangida. He once asked an inspector general of police. He said during the days when there is armed robbery occasioned by the notorious armed robber Anini in Lagos, he asked the former IG and said, "Where is Anini? If I may ask you, where is Bello Turji?"
Well, Bello Turji is a criminal. We are hunting him, and he knows that. And recently, maybe you heard some of his statements, through the social media. He's calling for, being given opportunity either to surrender. It shows that he's defeated. He doesn't have the capacity to perpetuate the kind of violence he's committing before. I'm telling you, as far as we are concerned, Bello Turji is a dead person walking. It's just a matter of time. It's a matter of time. We are hunting him and we are trailing his movements. And I'm telling you, we will get him. Okay. I will not say more than this.
Okay. Let's leave that issue.
Oh, we should leave that one.
Yes.
Okay.
Now, there is something military we always have. I think it is this insurgency that has brought the word, made the word popular now. Kinetic. Every now and then military say kinetic,
and non-kinetic.
And non-kinetic. Now, what is the difference between the two, and when does the military use either of them? Because you mentioned now that the bandit is asking for dialogue. What place is dialogue, negotiation? Because there are nations of the world that say we will never dialogue with bandits. Bandit deserves to die. What is kinetic energy in what the military is doing now?
Look, if we are to do dialogue, it has to be in our own terms, not in your own terms. You cannot come and tell us you want to dialogue with us and tell us this is how. No. You are a criminal. First, hand over all your weapons. That should be the beginning point, the starting point. Hand over all your weapons. And then if we felt there is need to engage, we will engage you. Otherwise, as far as we are concerned, once we get you, you are gone. So on the issue of kinetic and non-kinetic, kinetic is the military aspect, the operational aspect, while the non-kinetic is using other, civil military relations to engage the society, or to engage the communities, particularly where we are operating. You see, one of the leadership, in fact, the first leadership principle of the CDS is to lead the armed forces that is people-centric. So, in this case, we have a Department of Civil Military Relations that is in charge of our engagement with the civil communities, especially where we are operating. We discover some of them have certain needs. We have a situation where we have to go and reconstruct schools that were either destroyed by bandits, especially in the northeast, where they are against this Western education. We had to also support sometimes with even teachers. The Nigerian Army Education Corps, there was a time they were asked to provide teachers in some areas in the northeast, and they have done that perfectly well. We had to sometimes provide water for the communities, medical support. Sometimes we do medical outreach. Sometimes we even build medical facilities for them, despite the fact that our resources are not enough. But we still feel there is need to show some human face, to tell the people that we are with them, so that we can have their buy-in. Because you cannot do this alone without the people you are even protecting. You need their buy-in. You need their support. You need their understanding. So once you do that, you'll be surprised to see the amount of, support that they will be giving us. In fact, they have been doing that. Through our non-kinetic, line of operation, we have achieved a lot in supporting our kinetic operations.
Okay.
All right. Still flowing from that, would you say that the community, the society, has supported you sufficiently in the area of intel?
Well, I cannot say we got the desired support we need, but of course, we appreciate Nigerians. They continue to give us all the necessary human intelligence we need. In fact, we can attribute some of our successes to the kind of intelligence or information we are getting from the general public. But of course, we need more, because without that, we may not be able to achieve a lot. They should feel free, always come to us, give us information as at when due, timely and actionable information, not information that will end up being obsolete. Maybe something happened 2-3 hours ago, you are now calling to tell us. I think it's not good enough, but we still appreciate Nigerians, and we continue to call on them not to be tired, always give us the necessary information that we need, so that together we can protect Nigerians from these criminals.
As a follow-up to his question, we have people they call civilian JTF. They work in tandem with the military.
Yeah.
And on some occasions, they stick out their necks to support the military. And when the battle is over, the insurgents will now come back. By that time, the military will have gone, and then come and deal with these people. Is there any, as a relation to the question he asked, is there any protection for anybody that supports the military? Because it can be a deterrent. Once you offer information to the security agencies, and the insurgents will now come back and deal with your family. It can be something that that may not motivate them enough to continue.
Okay, thank you for that question. Yeah, we work hand in hand, particularly in the Northeast, with civilian JTF. That's where it was Borno State government initiative, in conjunction with the Armed Forces of Nigeria, that led to the establishment of civilian JTF. When Boko Haram terrorism was at its peak in Borno State in particular, or Northeast in general. The whole idea of having them is because they understand the terrain better. If you know how Borno State is, if you go to places like Goza, it's very hilly, so you need people from that general area to show you how to navigate some of those very hard and difficult terrains. Exactly. So it is because of that they were engaged, and some of them being part of the local communities, they know some of these Boko Haram terrorists. They should be able to engage them. Initially they were operating inside Maiduguri city, inside Maiduguri metropolis, so people know them before they were finally pushed out of Maiduguri, and they now went into the bush and some other places. So they know themselves. Most of the civilian JTF, they know them personally. So they will help us to even identify some of them and some of their hideouts. Then on the issue of their security, some of them are in the military right now. Some of them that are very good, and they meet the requirement for enlistment into the Nigerian Army, Air Force, or Navy. They are there, and they are doing very well. So on the area of their security, I believe a lot has also been done. In the area of protecting them, we work with them hand in hand. So we make sure their security is also a top priority. Though remember, they are engaged by Borno State government. They are not our employees. We don't employ them directly. We only work with them. But some of them, whenever there is any threat to them, they always tell us. They always come to inform the nearest military or security agencies close to them. So we didn't receive any report of being, threatened by the Boko Haram or what have you.
Okay.
General, there's this issue of moles within the military. Moles within the military who collaborate with these wicked people.
Yes.
To
supply them arms.
Supply them arms, supply them information, supply them prior information of like, oh, this is where we're going next and all that. And we have seen cases where suddenly there's an ambush against the military, which points to the fact that there probably has been some leakage. Is there a mechanism in place to detect and fish out these kind of people? And what follows after? I don't think I've ever heard, oh, these moles were caught and they were dismissed or they were dealt with or whatever. I don't remember.
Okay, thank you very much. But remember, whenever there is operation of this magnitude, not only in Nigeria, even in other climates, you hear this kind of problems. For example, even Russia, Ukraine, you hear that. Iran, you used to hear that. Israel, you used to hear all those kind of things. So I'm not saying they don't exist in Nigeria, yes, but we have our internal way of addressing those kind of problems. Once you are caught, we have our court martials. And we have been sending them. We have been sentencing them. But of course, after we sentence them, we take them to prison, and then after we were not in charge of the prison. And sometimes they appeal.
Okay.
They can appeal through the normal courts in our nation. And the judicial process sometimes is a bit slow.
Yeah.
But we used to send them for court martial.
Okay. People say, where will insurgency end? Where will it end? Military is getting more attention. They are getting more money. Since the Civil War, this is the time that the military has government attention, government ears, and they are able to get more money.
Well,
so where will it end?
If you say we are getting more money, please translate that money you say we are getting into dollar and see where we are.
Our economy is not dollar denominated.
Yeah, but most of our things are bought from outside. Like I said earlier, we don't produce anything we use here.
Right.
We don't produce anything. All the weapons, platforms we use, they are from outside the country.
Correct.
You have to use dollar to procure them. So what is the amount if you convert it to dollar? Well, we appreciate the government for giving us the resources, but I believe we still need more. Yes.
Well, maybe, I don't know. Let me just, don't you think that, can we have a deadline, for example? Can we say that at a certain point, the military will be pulled out of these operations so that they can truly go back to their professional, core professional duties, and then let the police, the civil defense, the DSS, or also handle this matter? Is it in the...
The CDS is eager to ensure all his troops are back into the barracks.
Exactly.
We have some soldiers that, since they passed out of the depot 5, 6, 7 years ago, they don't know anything apart from theater. They don't even have units.
God.
So the CDS is eager to have them back so that they can experience regimentation in the barracks. Some of them, they don't know any regimentation in the barracks apart from what they are going through in the field. So if we can finish this thing in time, it is the desire of the CDS to have everybody back into the barracks so that others will continue with their own, responsibilities.
Yeah.
But of course, the battlefield is changing. Almost every time you see new narratives, new changes coming in. Before, it was Boko Haram we are fighting.
Exactly. Yeah.
But now it has turned to, later it turned to cattle rustling. For example, in the Northwest, it was cattle rustling. Later it turned to human kidnapping. So the battle is changing. It's changing over a period of time. So we cannot tell you exactly this is the day we are going to withdraw, but it is our desire, even tomorrow, we can withdraw. But of course, new narratives are always being introduced into this war. Okay. Things are changing. The criminals are becoming something else, introducing new things into the battle theater. And we have to also up our game to ensure that at least we address those problems.
Okay. This war has been very costly to the Nigerian military. A number of very fine officers have lost their lives.
Yes.
Women have lost their husbands, and children have lost their fathers. Is the military taking very good care of the fallen soldiers, those that are falling in battles?
Yes. We have our own process. If somebody dies, there is what is supposed to be done, to assist his family immediately as a kind of to caution that, pain of losing a breadwinner. The military is a well-structured institution. We have laid down procedures. We have, what entitlement belongs to who at what point in time. If somebody died, there are certain entitlements that the family of the deceased should benefit from. Just like when you retire, there are certain things you benefit from. So in that area, I assure you there is no complaint. The CDS has even bring in more welfare packages, especially for the widows. And the First Lady happily has also keyed into this. She has a special program that she's doing with the widows by empowering them so that they can have skills that they can be on their own. And she also support them financially. And she's doing that directly.
Okay.
Yes.
Do we have a kind of rule call of honor? Are they just dead and forgotten like that? Once initial burial, now announcement, and the rest of it, give that. Is there any place in any military formation where we can at a glance see our fallen heroes, that these are the ones that die in battle?
If you go to Maiduguri, it's there. It was established, I think it's more than 10 years. Okay. It's there. The memorial is there where you see all the names with how they died, the date they died, and what have you. And their family can also go there and pay their respect. Yeah, we have that in Maiduguri. In the Northwest, we just established a theater now, just last year. Maybe later, something like that can also, be established. Though it is our hope that our troops should not even die, so that we don't have any need to establish that. If you go to the National Cemetery, it's there where some of our fallen heroes were laid to rest.
Okay. You have a question?
There's been advocacy in some quarters, including, I think, the top hierarchy of the current leadership, that a standing force should be established within the African or West African sub-region.
Okay, standby force, yeah.
Standby force. And is this really necessary, and is it affordable at a time like this?
Well, it's already approved.
It's approved.
It's already approved. Okay. A commander has already been appointed. He's currently in Equal Secretariat, a general from Sierra Leone. I think, yes, it is. It's very important. That's one of the reasons why the Africa's Chief of Defense Staff, converged in Nigeria last week, for the first time. African defense chiefs are organizing these things among themselves. I know you will ask me a question, but they used to meet somewhere else, but under the direction of certain organizations, like under the auspices of either ECOWAS, AU, you know, or some foreign countries. But this is the first time Nigeria invite all of them. They sat down, brainstorm, and come up with home solutions to some of these problems.
Okay.
So it is in similar vein that ECOWAS decided, let's pull troops together, created a standby force that can quickly be mobilized to go and address certain security situations in any part of West Africa. Remember, our CDS is currently the chairman of the ECOWAS Committee of the Chiefs of Defense Staff, though he will soon be handing over to Sierra Leone. Right. Because usually when you are president is the chairman of ECOWAS, automatically the Chief of Defense Staff becomes. So our president handed over to Sierra Leone. So the CDS Sierra Leone is taking over any moment within this month.
Okay, because of our time, we need to go now. But just in one or two sentences, is joining the military still popular among Nigerians with the insurgency and casualties and the rest of it? Are parents still willing to allow their children to join in one or two sentences?
Yes, very, very popular. We just finished intake of Nigerian Defense Academy. I think the result came out 1 or 2 weeks ago. You need to see the number of people that have applied, that they want to join the armed forces. And the same thing with depot. Thousands.
Okay, we must thank you, General, for coming on this special edition of our program, Conversation.
Thank you.
We really appreciate your forthrightness on the program. On behalf of myself and my colleague, Dayo, and the entire management of KAFTAN TV, I want to say thank you.
Thank you very much for having me.
Yeah. This is where we call it a date on this special edition of the program. Another date will be set much later. Good afternoon, and join our regular programs as they continue.